Then the Lord said to Moses, take the staff, and you and your brother Aaron gather the assembly together. Speak to that rock before their eyes, and it will pour out its water. You will bring water out of the rock for the community, so that they and their livestock can drink. Numbers 20, verse 7. Hearing the voice of the Lord. Notice something here. Why do we need to hear the voice of God? And remember, Bible is a collection of the audible voice of God. When the Lord spoke to Moses, he said, take the staff. One of the major reasons for God speaking to me is he uses his voice to highlight for you the equipment, the right equipment to use in his work. You remember the sons of Aaron, Nadabu and Abihu, when they came to offer an authorized fire, the fire came from the presence of the Lord and struck them dead. They were doing the right thing, lighting the fire, but using the wrong tool. They were using an unauthorized fire. And you notice, many people, they have failed in their ministrations simply because you did the work of God, but using a weapon or an equipment or instrument or a tool of your own choosing, because you saw it as most preferable. But when God speaks, he will with clarity tell you the right tool to use to get effectiveness. Number two, from the same voice, he says, you and your brother Aaron gather. When God speaks, if you can listen very keenly, because God can speak whatever he wants to speak to you, but his voice carries with it the person of co-working with you. Many people, their struggle is because they are lone rangers. You do things alone. Nobody partners with you because you don't know who is the right one. And many people have actually been victims of betrayal, like me, to a point to become completely afraid of partnering with anybody. It's better you minister like John the Baptist, or you minister like Elijah, around there, fighting your battles there, because you can no longer trust anybody. But when the Lord spoke, he told him, you and your brother Aaron. So he is the right working partner. May God speak, and in his voice, may you be able to know who you are supposed to work with. If you look also in the same chapter, he says, gather the assembly together. The moment you hear God speaking, that voice releases in you soul magnetic power. Anybody who God has ever spoken to, you'll notice they do not struggle in pulling people to where they are. That you see, those who practice dark kingdom systems, they go there and they do their incantations and enchantments until the God of their forefathers speaks, because they know if you carry that voice commands the masses, commands the human soul to be where the frequency is operating from. So if you hear the voice of God, you notice whether you're a business person, whether you're a pastor, whether you're a leader, you notice people are now comfortable with you and they can gather where you are. So the voice of God carries with it gathering grace, the ability to concentrate souls towards one center. He says something else. Speak to that rock before their eyes, and it will pour out its water. Something else. Well, you need to hear the voice of God, because when God speaks, He teaches you how to do things supernaturally and miraculously. This is at Meribah, if I'm not wrong. This was at Meribah. And when they were at this place, it is a different rock, though we know it is the same rock, Jesus Christ. But in the first instance, he was told to hit once, the way Jesus was pierced on the side of his ribs once with a spear. So in this second round, he was not supposed to hit, he was supposed to speak to it. And it will automatically release its water, because the Bible says it will release its water. So the water was inside the rock. So this is the point. The moment you hear the voice of God, you now acquire the knowledge of how things are done, so that you can get results that are outside the natural. That's why these many men of God, they struggle very much to perform miracles. Why? They don't have the formula of how they are supposed to do those miracles. The Lord is telling Moses, speak to it. It will bring out its water. So the voice of God is the one that teaches you the formulas, teaches you how to do things in a manner that it is going to work effectively. It will bring water out of the rock for the community, so that they and their livestock can drink. So how did Moses position himself to hear the voice of God? If you look at this chapter, Moses was actually in stress. He was distressed, because people were quarreling against him. They were even planning to stone him. If you can read it from verse 2 to verse 5. They are telling Moses, why did you bring the Lord's community to this wilderness? Why did you, if only we died in Egypt? They are telling Moses, why did you bring us to this terrible desert? It was a difficult time. But imagine Moses could hear the voice of God. How did he position himself in that kind of circumstance to hear God clearly? It is recorded in verse 6. Numbers 20 verse 6. Moses and Aaron went from the assembly to the entrance. So key number one, separate yourself from commotion. Mostly that was we speak of renewal in the mind, because stress and distress and the confusion and the noise in your mind can make you not hear God, because you'll be having contradicting sounds. So the key number one is separate yourself from the assembly. Number two, the tent of the meeting. Go to the tent of the meeting. Number three is fall face down, prostrate, reverential worship. Fall prostrate to the ground. That speaks of submission to God. And the glory of the Lord appeared to them. Be at the presence.